Really, I haven't been doing a lot of introductions because a lot of people are perfectly capable of telling you who they are. But I wanted to introduce Danielle because Danielle is a great example of why I have a really good job and why talking to other publishers is so much fun. You know, one of the things we heard today during the keynote was, you know, let's be the idiots who actually don't talk about something but actually do something. And Danielle has a really great story about, you know, how they were able to take their lead generation program from really sad to really fantastic. And I think it's a real, talking to her is the kind of thing that gets me energized because you can really see how people can use technology and use their savvy to really improve their businesses and make everything better. And like Ken was saying yesterday, drive more revenue for their organizations. So without that, here's Danielle Balestra.
Okay, so hello everybody. I'm Danielle Balestra from CFL Publishing. I head our marketing and audience development group. So today, this presentation is more about us running lead generation programs for our advertisers and sponsors and the successes we've had. But a lot of what we're actually doing, we're implementing also for our ad sales. So you can apply a lot of this in both areas. So as Louise was talking about, we had a very interesting situation happen to us. I joined CFO Publishing sort of in just the product marketing role in 2012, and I remember sitting in our office in New York, and the board meeting just ended in November, and the former VP of, it was he was doing more of the audience development team, came in and said, we're a lead generation team, and we're like, okay, what does that really mean? And we made some major changes in about a short period of time, and our success for those lead gen programs were not good. We saw an immediate shortcoming because of some systems and some lack of procedures. And I'm just going to walk through sort of all the different areas that you need to make sure are in place to prevent any of these mistakes from happening. Just so you get an idea of the volume of programs that we run for our advertisers, we do between 40 to 70 programs per month. And it ranges from white papers, ebooks, and webcasts each month. So we have a lot that is on our plate, and as well as we're running external campaigns to try and drive advertisers in, and that could be between 3 or 4. So there's a lot that our marketing team is managing. We're a team of about 3. One of them is actually sitting here with his nice little orange computer, Alex, and he is actually a really big key part of why we were able to help turn this around. So before you even start thinking about doing a lot of lead generations, it's really important to have some procedures in place, especially if you're doing this high volume of lead gen programs. If you're doing something like 40 to 70 programs per month, it's really important to have those procedures in place. There's a lot of room for errors, and we found that you need to, one, track all those campaigns. You need to organize the people that are actually responsible for these programs. Make sure that they understand what they need to be doing and to actually execute those items. It's critical to understand what the client wants. Each sales rep is going out there doing the best they can to try and get that revenue for you. And as a media company, we know it's really hard to get that revenue in. So we might have some, things that might not be in the normal package, but we need to know what those things are so we can execute them. So it's critical to know what they want, because at the end of the day, if we're making them happy, they're going to be happy with the program. If it's pacing slow, but we're meeting that expectation, they're happy. They will repeat business. We've been very successful with reselling programs. Once we close them, we're able to just bring them back on and give them another bundle of leads that they need. We need to make sure that the content is relevant for our audience. And it's something that sometimes the sales reps don't know to check, and it's critical. Because if somebody comes in and says, you know what, I want to air a webcast on your system, they're going to be like, great, sure, we'll take the revenue. But, did we make sure it was for finance and not law firms? Well, we need to make sure that's happening. And the pacing of leads, again, this goes back to the expectations. So if we're doing a program for a sponsor that's 100 leads, how fast are they coming in? Is it because it's a brand new asset that we haven't tested in the marketplace and we get leads once, like just one email? That's great. But sometimes we might set a new product out there, or especially a white paper where it's their content and we didn't really write it, so we don't know how it's going to work. We need to make sure we find a right pacing level so that that program closes within their expectations. So the next part, after you've establish your procedures is your systems and technology. A big reason for a lot of our failures last year was that we did not have clear vision into our data. We didn't know who we were sending to, and that's a big problem. You need to be able to see who you're sending emails to and offers to. It needs to be relevant. We also had some problems with our email system because of this inability to show what we're sending. So we invested in Marketo, and with that investment, we were able to apply a lot of these strategies we had in place by looking more at what might be engaging to them, what might demographically look right, and send those offers to them. So putting the investments into that ESP or marketing automation tool is critical. Project management tool, as I said, there's a lot of procedures that are in place. And you need to make sure that you're meeting all of those procedures, and everybody who's involved with this program is actually executing what needs to be done. And we did this in a very manual way to begin with. We have something on Google worksheets that's like 15 columns long, and each person was supposed to put in their little bit saying, when did we send the last email? How many leads did we report this week? So we are looking to automate this, and we're investigating different project management tools that will help do this automatically for us. Lead distribution tools. So when you're doing your own lead gen, you might have Salesforce, and that's great because between Marketo and Salesforce, it's an automatic streamline, and you can send alerts to your sales team. They can call those leads immediately and start that opportunity rolling very nicely. When you're distributing leads over to an advertiser, that becomes a little complicated. And we find that each advertiser has a unique use case about what they want the leads to be structured as, how they want the data delivered, different formatting that needs to go into reports because of different systems that they need to put in. And we've spent over a year looking for a tool that can help automate this, and we found one called Cake. And we're in the process of setting this up today. So this helps you take all that responsibility off a person and takes a lot of that human error out of the equation. And that will help you get those leads directly to where they need to go. So now that you've got your systems in place and you've got your procedures all set up, we're going to talk about the marketing. And marketing is critical. We have done a lot of research into a good user experience in your inbox. You only have seconds to make an impression on someone. And if you're asking them to download or watch a video, you need to be to the point really quick with the key selling points on this email. And you need to think about, too, will the images render? If they don't, you need a nice little line up here of text only that will explain what the rest of this email is so that they'll actually then emit and turn on those images. We need to make sure that every image is clickable here. We have multiple places that you can engage. And a clear call to action, read down. This is an example of something that we're doing for an advertiser, so the advertiser also gets brand awareness here. And this is on all of our programs. We found that this is a good design for us, and we have very high engagement, but we continue to change and adjust it because, again, the marketplace keeps changing, and we want to make sure each offering looks a little bit different. So now somebody's engaged, and they've clicked through the offer, and now here's our landing pages. We're using the Marketo landing pages, which is very helpful. It takes all the distractions off the page. There's no banner ads. This is not our typical landing page on our site. You're not seeing any news. You're not seeing anything. All we want you to do at this point is fill out this form. And we want to make sure it's easy to fill out that form. So we have autofills happening. So if you're using Chrome or you're using any of those newer browsers, you might actually have this all saved into your computer, and that will autofill. If you're in our database and we know you, we can also have this autofill or just say welcome and a one-click submit because we already have everything there. Behind this form, we're using a system called demand-based. And there's 41 hidden fields back here that's filling out the rest of your profile. It tells you about your company, mailing address, you have your phone number, we have information about if you're a B2B company, you're a B2C company, what your SIC code is, what industry you are. We have all this different information that's helping us build this database and better be able to segment you in the future. But it's key to keep this short and to the point and help them be able to submit quickly and engage. So going over those again, keep those emails short. That email, when it appears on your screen, you don't need to scroll. Everything's right there. If you're needing them to scroll that's making them work harder, don't make them work. Just give them something that's very easy. They get to it, and if they have the time to read the ebook or the white paper immediately, that's great. You want to have everything clickable. Again, make them not work. Don't have them just have one click that they need. Make sure everything will bring you back to that very easy landing page. Again, clear call to action. Read now. Sign up today. And it's also good to have a responsive design. I had a conversation recently with somebody about mobile design, and a lot of email service companies are actually removing the responsive design out of it. So if you're using Google, what happened? Okay. So if you're using Google, or you're using your iPhone and you're going through your Yahoo or whatever, it actually will remove a lot of those elements that makes it responsive. So all those emails that you are sending should be readable in your iPhone. But it is good to still make that investment because not everybody are using an iOS for those emails. So it's good to have that available. The other way. That's good. That's good.
She can do it from there.
Yeah. Okay, so again, clear landing page, no distractions. Be able to really go in there and get them to clearly click on that form, fill out that form, get to that asset. So yesterday there was a whole session about email segmentations, and this is, again, very critical to success in lead generation programs. You're going to need to be able to know what you sent to who, when, and how often. If you're unable to know this piece, you need to get a system that will help you answer this. Because if you're sending somebody repeated offers in the same day for similar products for different advertisers, or even if you're going to an advertiser to help launch your program and you don't want them doing this for you either, you need to make sure you're sending critical information to people that should be receiving it at the time that they're going to receive it. You need to know what they're engaging in. So if there's content in there that they're not engaging in, like if we keep sending something about tech and really they want compliance information, we're going to stop sending you tech and just send you compliance. You're not converting on tech. So why am I going to keep bothering you about this? And it's getting you mad. And you know what? It's harder to get you back engaged or to, you want to subscribe. Now that's a cost that I need to get back in. Again, what they're not interested in. So you don't want to send what they're not interested in. You want to send them things that are relevant to them. So we've started focusing really on sending to people that are engaged in our audience. It's going back to the actual data in our database. We have, as a publisher, originally a publisher, we're always thinking, like, well, we have all these names in our file. But there's a subscriber file, and we also had a .com file, and we put all together. We actually have duplicates. So think about if they're signing up for a newsletter on your site, and you've had that newsletter around historically for a while, they might have signed up 3 or 4 times in the last 10 years, and they might have changed their email address 3 or 4 times in that same time period. So because most systems are checking based off of unique email addresses, you're not going to notice those duplications. So you have to check before you think, oh, I just have a group of unengaged and I just got to get them engaged. Why aren't they unengaged? Who are they? And double check that you don't have them and they're engaged somewhere else. And then make sure this is fun.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to need to identify what content individuals are interested in. So sometimes they'll give you that information, and you can find that sort of in your forms, but you can also get that information based off their engagement on your site. So because we're using Marketo, we're also using a system called RTP, which is our customization of the website, and that connects into our Marketo instance. So we can identify what articles they're reading, what pages on the site they're on, And because of this automation that we have all this really robust information, we can then start segmenting very uniquely and make sure that they're getting relevant information. Again, make sure you're not sending conflicting messages. So you might be running a conference in the city of Boston, and there might be a special roundtable event in the city of Boston, and somehow they ended up on the same day. Don't send them both offers, because they're going to be like, why are you sending me to both of these things? If you do send both offers, please make sure they complement each other, saying, thank you for coming to this conference. As an additional benefit, we'd like you to come to this roundtable. Or vice versa, we'd like to thank you for signing up for the roundtable. We'd like to give you a discount for going to the conference. So understand and make sure you're not sending conflicting messages, especially if you're doing lead gen. If you have a program that you're running for an advertiser and it's sort of about innovation and latest trends, and you have a research report that's similar, make sure that you have that information take out, and make sure you don't send those conflicting messages to the same group. So marketing housekeeping. You need to, again, clean that database. Make sure you have accurate information that you're sending to. The more information you can get on those individuals, the more they're going to engage. You want to always send extremely relevant information to these people. Yesterday they were talking about doing that persona marketing and segmentation. That's where we're going to. We're working very hard to get to that last level, so that if we're sending them a message about, a white paper that's talking about managing a team, we can send that to them in a certain voice, whereas we can send to theirs a different voice saying, see how you can sort of grow into this role. Always test. Don't sit on your laurels. Always think that there might be a better design, there might be something else in the messaging that will drive more registrations, clicks, or downloads. You're never going to know 100% for sure what is going to get these people to engage with you. So you need to make sure that you always have things out there. If anybody's ever done sales, you know that when you sell something, there's multiple ways that you can sell. And you just need to know that point that's going to drive that in and make them take an action. So we've applied all of these different philosophies into our business. And from 2003, when we were having a really hard time, to this year, we saw our open rates increase by 39%. We saw our click rates increase by 40%. And the number of leads generated for programs increased by 40%. So it's very exciting when you can do a report and not have them in single digits anymore, or having your click rates back into a single digit instead of a point percentage. And the number of emails that we sent has decreased. We used to send between 12 to 16 million messages a month. We're sending between 6 to 8 million messages a month. So by segmenting, getting very targeted, we've been able to really turn this whole ship around and not have to send as much as we did in the past. So we're not done with that process. The big reason, we're sending a lot of messages. In fact, this year I think we've run more programs, lead generation programs for advertisers than we did last year. We have only decreased the list for a short period of time by about 200,000, and that's because we ran it against a lot of email cleansing. And we started a first round of deduping, but there's a lot more that needs to be put in place. We need to do some more fuzzy logic deduping, because there's a lot of people in there that it's very unique, and we need to weigh them differently. So because we're focusing only on those engaged, you would think because we've decreased the list, we should be sending a lot more. When we were sending 12 to 16 million for 4 webcasts and several white papers, you would think that same philosophy would make it more. But because we're being very targeted and very specific, we're getting more people to convert. And they're actually consuming a lot more information from us. So we're having a better engagement level, and they're not dropping off like we saw last year. We saw a very high on engagement and unsubscribe level last year, and this year it's equal sort of in size, like 0.6%, but because of the volume we're sending, we're seeing a lot less people unsubscribe. So I hope that